Okay, welcome guys to the Strugglebus. Tonight we're going to be doing my last four reviews for the beginning of Magic tournament. Had some technical difficulties for whatever reason. OBS has been having trouble connecting to Twitch, and even though I had it all set up earlier today, when I went to open it right now, it did not. It did not want to connect. So I had to go back to Streamlabs, which I didn't have fully set up for my new layout, which hopefully you guys enjoy. But I'm gonna have to do things a little old school because I can't see the chat. So I've got my phone next to me, so I'll be able to see the Twitch chat. And so let me start with this. So for shameless plug time, I now have, let me just send that, see if it goes through. Cool, that did go through. I now have a YouTube channel set up, which my bot just gave the information for. And that channel is primarily for double-digit Q players. That's the goal there, is I've got some fun content that I'm putting together. Don't have too much up yet, but I do plan on putting stuff out probably realistically every other week. I've been shooting for every week, but I'm sure life will get in the way. So if that's something that you are interested in, you can also check out my fun little videos there. So, and we got a cherry pie. So so we've got 4 reviews, and I believe, let me just minimize this real quick. Boop. I believe Badger said that he was going to be available early, and so I'm going to be doing his game first. By the way, we've got, so the first game is a 10K against an 8K. Second game is 8K versus 13. Next one is 12 versus 13K. And the final one is going to be a 9K versus what appears to be, with 4 stones there, 13K. So that is where we are at. So I'm going to jump right in with the first one, which I did take a look at earlier. So hopefully I still have my little notes here. It looks like I've got some stuff. By the way, this is a 2-stone handicap game. And so nothing too crazy at first, right? White's taking the last corner, and then White takes corner, Black takes last corner, White approaches. This is all fine, nothing too wild. This move I'm not a huge fan of. Typically, when we are going to extend off of a 4/4 stone, usually we just want to do one of the knights, small knights moves. This doesn't really stop the 3/3 too well. And just from a balance standpoint, we've just got a few too many stones on the 4th line here. And so I'm just not too huge of a fan of this. This is far from a big mistake, just something I wanted to point out. And so then White approaches, and I believe Black kicks here, and White extends, and Black pincers. Which is fine because he does have the G4 stones set up for this. So I believe it was Black who asked for the review, but I'm going to give a review for both players on this one. So when Black comes in here, White needs to figure out what side is he going to, well, if he's going to do anything to stone, what side is he going to pressure from. So in game he played from the top side. So the question you have to ask yourself is which of these 2 groups do you consider to be stronger? And whichever group you consider to be stronger, you should probably push towards that group, right? Help strengthen your weaker group while pushing the C11 stone towards the stronger group. And in this case, I would probably consider group B to be stronger. Your A group is kind of, it's pincered at this point in time. There are 3 stones below it. From Black, so it's not in the greatest position. So that's why I think White should probably just press from this side. Black is most likely going to take a base at that point in time, but this lets White develop a little bit while also getting good shape and getting this group a little bit stronger than it is right now. So just a minor comment there. White does push here, black extends, and then white does this shoulder hit, which I think is a fine. I think this is a fine play for white. For black here, you gotta look at what you're trying to get out of this situation, right? So you've split these two groups for white, and so you can treat I'm going to be marking a whole bunch of stones here. You can treat the A stone as light, right, and just jump out this way and go after the two lower stones. And if white wants to go after this one, seems like a fair trade to me, right? It's not a clean capture. There's still a ton of Aji here. There's still a ton of Aji in these two stones as well. Black played here, which is interesting. I'd probably consider this, this is probably our typical, what we'd expect, right? And then we would be looking at if white wants to, which side white wants to connect to. Playing this way is a pretty aggressive move. It seems fine. The only issue is then in game, black tanuki'd. So, so Badger is here now. So you haven't missed too much. So just going back real quick. I wasn't a fan of, let me get these stones unmarked. I wasn't too big of a fan of G4. Just, if you're extending off of a 4/4 stone. Also, let me join the chat room. Let's see. I don't know if you're here, but if you are, I'm going to go into board 1. So if you want to join me there, you can, and then we can discuss this in real time. But either way, not a fan of this extension. It doesn't block the 3/3. It's we've got a lot of fourth line stones, so typically I'd expect black to play one of these 2 mark stones if you're looking to extend from there. And this kick seemed fine. This was a comment for white. And then we have this, and we've got this shoulder hit. So this is kind of where we are now, right? And so I mentioned we can jump out here if we want to split the white groups. We can connect underneath if that's something you're looking for. This likely works, right? It seems like a nice aggressive move. The issue here is you can't tanuki away from this, right? If you're playing this second stone, you're saying that you care about this area, right? You care about you care about these stones, and you're willing to put more stones into it. But then when white responds, we're tanukiing, and now we're in a tougher spot, right? I believe white in game just played down, and so I'm curious. I'm curious on your thoughts as to what this tanuki was about. It's also not necessarily where I'd be looking for a tanuki, right? We could potentially go and pressure these stones while developing a nice area up top, or on the right side rather. So this was kind of like the first little head scratcher move. White descends, you hane under, but this doesn't actually connect for us, which white showed us. And then we tanuki'd again, which again, kind of, if we're putting these stones on the board, we're kind of making this heavy group. And if we were just going to sacrifice it, then we probably shouldn't be playing these stones to begin with, right? And that's kind of what I meant with, when we're saying like, we've got this tanuki here, and then you tanuki'd again. It's like you were kind of flip-flopping between whether you thought these groups were important or not. And so this next comment was for white because he played this really weird 5th line shoulder hit, which is just a little too central on this board, right? We're only at move 24, and I've got a bunch of points on the board marked where there are plenty of sides and even some corners that are still open. So going for the center here, like I understand what white's looking for. White wants to capture this on a big scale. but black's already almost given up those stones. So I'm not sure if it's even worth investing more into that right now. But I just don't. I don't really like this. I don't like this. It's too high. Black has a real easy response, which you play right now. So now we're going to be getting like pretty much just as much on top as white's going to get on the left side. White jumps back. I liked this move from black. It's good shape. Pokes at this. I think this was a good move. And then white's going to clearly willing to trade influence here. The issue for white here though is two things. One, you're pushing from behind, right? And so we have to be real careful when we are pushing from behind, right? We have to be very deliberate about it because the other guy's going to be able to stay ahead, and so they're likely going to be able to snooky first. And then more importantly here, you're pushing from behind on the fifth line, right? So typically if you're pushing and you're keeping them on the second line, third line stones for second line stones, that's a great trade. And then fourth line stones for third line stones is an even trade, right? But here you're getting fifth line stones or fourth line stones. So black's getting a lot of territory. And so you better have a real good plan for this influence that you're most likely going to be getting in Gote, because black gets to stay ahead. And so that happens. Black takes the Hane, which is fine, extends, and then white extends. And I mentioned that with white pushing from behind here, he should be ending in Gote. And so that means black should be getting Sente out of this. And so this is probably where I'd consider Tanukiing. Yes, this Hane is big, right? This is a big move, and you played it, but I'm not sure, do we really care if white plays there, right? We're pretty settled at this point in time. And so I think it's worth going after bigger points. And so it's clear, what white's trying to do with this, right? He's looking to just secure like all this as his, right? Including your stones. So I think it's worth potentially poking at that, or just going and taking the big points that are still on the board. And so let me remove all these triangles that are kind of clogging things up, because I want to get to the moves that I had looked at, are the three square marked moves. And I'm sure they're better, right? You could also maybe poke at this cut. I just have to be careful about that, because this might not be Sente in the way you want it to be. And what I mean by that is if we poke and something like this answers the cut, then this is a real bad exchange for black. So you got to be real careful with that. So that's why I hadn't marked this. But if you're worried about what this territory could turn into, you could potentially play something like this. But can't fault you too much for the Hane, but I think this was a missed opportunity to go get a big point on the board. White also Hanes. I would still just Tanuki from this. The crosscut is dangerous. The reason it's dangerous is, again, you have to look at what white's plan here is to get a big area here, right? And so if you cut, which is what happened in the game, and then white pushes, what are we getting out of this? We're both getting walls. Both white and black are getting walls out of this. The issue is white already has this somewhat stable group here. And so I'm not sure what what your A stones are really going to get for this, because this is the type of thing where now if white gets Sente here, and let's say you push one more time, and then white does something like this, what's that wall getting us? It's pretty clear what it's getting for white, right? So this seems like a pretty not great trade for white. So you're saying take the whole right side, but one move just stops that, right? And again, so when you played N9, right, this is probably the timing for white to just go, nope, that side isn't yours. Because at a certain point in time, white does have to respect the fact that his group here, which isn't alive yet, is getting surrounded. But he's got, he's got Miai here, so he's going to be able to live easily enough. So So that's why I don't like what this wall. I don't like what this wall is doing. And so anyway, um, oh, so white does take his opportunity here. This is kind of a weird move. I think if white's gonna invest stones, um, you know, go bigger, either S3, S11. I mean, R10. It's I guess it's same type of deal, and maybe we even have to worry about this Atari A. I wonder if that's an issue. That's something I didn't look at when I first went through this. Now with R10 on the board, this might become an issue. And so this is a nice big move. I think this is fine. But again, I'm curious. I'm curious what happens here if we do this. If black's floating stick here, um, becomes an issue. I wonder. So anyway, so white blocks, and then black takes the turn. This turn's huge. So I think this is good timing. But again, so looking at this board, this wall really isn't getting us much. This turn gets us a lot. Like these three marked stones are doing a lot. But the first three that we had to invest into it, not so much. And white's strong enough here that he can Tanuki from this, and probably needs to play something on the bottom now, right? Black is threatening a large lower side, so white should probably do something about that pretty soon. But he's really invested on this territory. The issue is this is still just way too central, right? And it's getting to the point now. If black gets a couple more moves on this lower side, it's gonna be difficult to do anything about it. And so black could even just play something like this, or I don't really like K8, but I wonder if it's playable to kind of try to make a big framework here. But definitely an interesting board state. This I don't think I like this. So let's look at this. Yeah, white is clearly looking to make this a big territory, but do we care? Do we really care right now? This is so what I would do, if this was a tournament game, right? So it was a nice slow time settings. In this situation, I would absolutely count to see who's ahead. And this is admittedly a tough board to count, but mainly because of the question mark of how much is the bottom. But it's this whole top right corner is pretty secure for black. This whole top left corner is pretty secure for white. So we can probably count that, and I'd be willing to bet that black's ahead here. And if that's the case, black doesn't need to do anything too crazy. He can just go secure this bottom to get more points, or try to reduce white. But I don't quite like this, because it just, I don't know. I feel like as white I would just ignore it. I would probably just play something like this. I'm sure he doesn't. Right, white has invested a lot into this top left corner, but there's so much more of the board that we need to go over, and so white does protect that his territory. So especially here, black now has Sente. I would definitely be looking at something on this lower side. We're done here for now. We can come back to that later. So I'm curious where black plays. I don't hate this move. It's a little, I don't know. It doesn't really stop any of the invasion that's happening here, right? If we're looking at this is just too small, that left group, and so I'd still be concerned that white's just going to slap a stone here and erase a lot of points here. So here this is a little too timid, So there's so much room on this bottom, that I would just, in this situation, again, as white, I kind of feel like maybe a little behind. So if you're trying to efficiently make the bottom, honestly, like this seems so slow. This move seems so slow. But what's going to end up happening here is with this one more stone, you're either going to get pretty much all of this or all of this, right? White's gonna have to reduce one side, and then when you do that, the other side's gonna get completely firmed up. So, but so that's why this seems a little soft, and this seems a little soft for both players. I think this gives Black a good opportunity to just answer this, right? Just answer this right now with a move like this. So let's see. Yep, that's fine. That's it's a big, right? If this works, it's great, but it leaves that bottom pretty wide open. So let's see. Let's see where White went. Yeah. So I was wondering if White was doing this as a means to turn on this poke, but we actually don't care about this stone that much. We really don't, because Black's bottom plus this top right corner is gonna be more than enough to win. And so I like that. I like that you gave that stone up. These seem like really good exchanges for Black. And then, ooh, yeah, this one really hurts for White. Ending in Gote here just doesn't feel that good. So here I would absolutely count. And there's no way Black's behind here. And so it's probably time to 100% make this corner ours, right? Probably something like this to threaten, the life of this group. And then I still want to take care of this stone probably, but that's what I'd be looking for here. It wouldn't feel great to put another stone on the bottom, but I'm curious. Like I don't know if I kill this stone. Like I really hope I could, right? I really hope that I could kill this stone. But it'll certainly be tricky. But let's see. So okay, so if you ended up losing this game, this is probably where that started. So I'm gonna guess that you probably didn't count during this game, because this move G8 looks like pure desperation. This is a move that says I am totally losing this game, and the only way I'm going to win is with some crazy invasion, and that's just not the case here. Black's got to be well ahead. Let's see what the score estimator says. Oh, way ahead, 5.1 points. That is so monstrously ahead. So I guess it was just a really close game. But either way, if we count, assuming we're able to count as accurately as that, and we go, oh, this is a close game. Close games just say, let's play efficiently. We don't need to play crazy, right? This is you counted and you saw that you were behind by 25 points, and this is just the only way you win. So I'm sure whatever fight this turns into, if you keep at it, okay. I don't like it. Right? We've got the pretty easy Atari, right? Unless I'm missing something with that. I guess this is what we care about. This is just getting really messy. This is getting really messy. I don't think we need this. I think if after this, even something as simple as this, but honestly, I think if we get this move, and he blocks, and we start getting moves over here, I bet score estimator says that Black by 2.1. Man, my intuition sucks. This looks like a pretty winnable game for Black here. But either way, I think this is probably a little too Hail Mary for a game that's actually pretty close. So yeah, ugh, that's ugly. That is ugly shape, White. So Yeah, I don't know how much reading you put into it. I haven't put too much reading. Maybe this just doesn't work, but it really feels like it does. Because again, like if black does this squeeze, like I don't know, I don't know, I don't think that black wins this Liberty race. It's a little too. I don't know. This is complicated because this Hane, right? We've got this here as well. Um, Maybe black does win the Liberty race. Who knows? This is pretty wild. This is interesting. This is interesting. I'll take it back. Maybe this double Hane. Maybe he did do some deep read, and this double Hane works. Because white did play its terrible shape move to get out of it. So maybe I am just missing something there. Okay, yep. And so we've kind of got this weird little fight going on, and okay, I don't like this. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess black can connect here, but connecting in Sente doesn't feel too. I guess it's yeah, looks like Sente. So you missed a connection in Sente. But either way, I'm getting a little off the rails here. This fight, none of this was necessary, because white is certainly so. If this works right now, it's going to work in 10 moves because white is certainly not going to play another move over here. So we need to be looking at where the big points are. And ironically, b5 is not small. It's a pretty big move, but I would probably be looking at moves like these to just go get the big points. And I would probably start with s12 because it feels like the most Sente out of all of them. But I think that's probably the main thing here. You get a little lost in the weeds, and so backing it up a little bit. I guess this is probably the first time you got Sente is right here. So in these situations, especially in nice slow games, my advice is to just take your time, stop, take a minute, and just count and see who's winning and by how much, because that's going to dictate a lot of things. If the game is close, all you need to do is just keep finding the efficient moves and play them. If the game isn't close, if you're way up, then you just need to end the game, right? Play moves that simplify the game and move it towards end game. And if you're losing, like that's when we start playing the crazy and going, I wonder if there's something here, right? Then these are the types of moves that we play if if we think we're way behind. So yeah, so I'm curious. I didn't go through all the game. Typically with my reviews, I'll stop around move 75 or so, and this is move 70, so that makes sense. But I am curious what ends up happening with this. I imagine. Oh, there's no way that lives. Ah. I feel like this probably just kills. There might be a ko in there, but I don't think so because we don't care about that, right? That's not the cut actually doesn't work here. So this looks like it's this peep looks like it's really threatening. But what's interesting, you actually have this in Sente, right? And so white would have to connect, and now we can do this. And again, we don't care about this. And even if white descends, we've got more than enough liberties here. So I think just blocking here is enough. We don't even have to take the exchange here. But this timid defending move, like I feel like b2 might even kill here now, right? Because white's gonna jump, and we can do that. I don't know. I'd have to read it, but either way, I think your answer is just this. I think that just does it fine. I would take this exchange first, right, just to get that in Sente and then do this. But yeah, if he lives here, it's not the greatest. Yeah, with e2, I think this is alive when he plays b2. Yeah, or that works as well. Yep. So, yeah, I guess this is Ko, huh? I wonder if it's just this. No, because then that gets that. Yeah, maybe it is just Ko. Maybe it is just Ko. That's kind of cool. I like Kos. Um, okay, I can dig it. Yeah. So the issue here, though, is this, right? When we look at Kos, we do have to consider the Ko threats that are on the board, and there's a monstrous amount for both players. But I think just because of how open this corner is, actually, I really don't think that this works because of how strong black is here. But there's no way you're going to win this Ko with all this stuff on the board. Um, so anyway, so this was, just simple, not simple, nothing simple. But here, I, this was obviously a big miss, and is likely probably the final was your final chance to win the game. And then once this Ko starts, once White gets something out of this, this is almost a flower Ko. For White, because this never should have been his to begin with. So whatever he gets out of this is going to be pretty good. And this is giving up this Ko threat is just too much. It's just too much. Um, so yeah, I can see what happened. I can see what happened now. And yeah, this is certainly enough for White to get there. Um, so yeah, so I think this is probably the good natural stopping point for this. But this all started with the shenanigans of this move, right? I think this was just complicating a game that didn't need to be complicated. I think black has options, and I think they start with this because this will also help secure any Aji that's in the corner. And White's likely going to answer this move, right? So then we can still, we can still do this stuff, right? These are still pretty big moves. That should probably secure the game for black. Um, but I think that's where we'll leave this one for now. If you have any questions that I didn't cover, feel free um, to send me a message after. I'm gonna do my little shameless plug here. So again, I've set up a YouTube channel to go along with streaming. The channel's aims towards double-digit Q players, going over fun stuff there, enjoying it. So hopefully take a look at it. Let me know if you guys enjoy it. If there's more of something or less of something you want to see. By the way, that's where we'll leave this review. And yeah, so let's go on to the next one. So the next one is a big handicap game, which is always a little tough. Black is the one who requested this. He's not unfortunately, but he's in Europe. Let's see. So the main idea is count and take safe moves if ahead. That's one of the things, right? When we're doing slow, thoughtful games where you have the time, like your normal games, your normal quicker ones, or maybe you do play slowly with all your games. But if you're playing a slow, thoughtful game, counting should be part of it. If you're, obviously, if you're playing quick or just playing like a 10-minute game, then you're not really going to be able to take a minute and do that. But if you're playing a 30-minute game, 30 plus 5 times 30 seconds, you can take a minute or two and just count. And so that's really important to let you know where you stand and what you need to do, because that'll tell you if just reducing your opponent will be enough, or if you need to invade, or if growing, or vice versa, if growing your territory is enough. And so that was one of them, and then the other one, just recognizing where the big points are. but it's easy. It's easy to get lost in the fights. So so anyway, so this game, so black is the one who requested this, but I'll still review for both players. But anyway, yeah. If you have any questions afterwards, feel free to hit me up in Discord. So white approaches, black backs off, white approaches, and then black kicks. These are all fine things. I guess I can't fault this move, right? It kind of splits the white's groups. White probably wanted to play here, so I can't fault this move too much. I don't like this one from white, right? We typically don't attach to weak stones. I think we can definitely, classify this as a weak stone, right? So typically we would not want to do this connection. It's going to force black to get strong. In this case, he's just going to drop down. So black, you should have dropped down. Right, get strong that way so we can go after the c6 stone. Where did black play? Black Hanade. So, okay, so backing up a little. So either way, so white, I wouldn't do this attachment. It elicits a response. Black is either going to extend or choose one of the two Hanes in this. And hopefully I don't have to go over too much why that isn't a good exchange for white, but basically the end result is you're gonna turn black's weak stone into a strong stone. Your stone's gonna get strong as well, but his stone started off as weak, so you're kind of fixing his weakness. And for black, you got to be careful with this Hane. So I hate giving this advice, but I'm going to give it, especially in handicap games. You have to assume that your opponent's going to be a stronger fighter. And so this is probably what white's looking for, is to be able to cross cut you and just tear you to pieces in fights. So I would definitely look at playing the safer option. And in this case, this is safer, but it's also just way stronger. This is a really strong move, right? It threatens to undercut anything that happens here, and it's attacking the c6 stone. So in this situation, the important thing here is if these stones stay strong, if you make this group strong, then it's harder for white to attack these stones when the inevitable fight breaks out, right? Because you can go after both of these groups. But if you leave weaknesses behind, which the Hane does, any fight that breaks out here, now all of a sudden, not right now, but like e8 becomes a forcing move, right? Because it threatens to connect. Or the cut just becomes a forcing move. And so you just gotta be careful with this, because any fights that start near here, we now have this weakness. And white extends this way. So yeah, so we're kind of seeing like why this attachment isn't great, right? In this situation, if you're attaching white and he's doing this, I'd expect you to cross cut. If you're not going to take this cross cut, you can't. I mean, you shouldn't be attaching to this stone anyway. But if you're going to attach, you gotta own it, right? You have to follow it up. But white backs off, and here black really needs c9. Black really, really, really just wants c9. Again, keep these stones split. We actually don't even care about this. He can go get that stone. That's fine. If the trade is you lose this stone and he loses that stone, that's an amazing trade for black. So that's what I would do. That this is good shape, but it doesn't threaten c6 as much, right? C6 has lots of ways it can go to to try to get it alive, and this move doesn't really block any of those. So black jumps out. I'm not sure. These are all very central moves. I'm wondering why the players are so fixed on the center of the board right now, right? You can just do your attachment. You can do a double approach. There's so many options here if you want to settle this stone. Jumping out doesn't seem to be the way to go. Black is more than happy to press into this stone, and so black. Yep, this is fine too, and then white goes in the corner. And if we wanted the corner, just take the corner, right? Because I'm not sure you would actually Not sure white actually wants this exchange, right? I don't think white actually wants to exchange A for B. Because what's white getting out of this? You know, separating these stones don't really matter. This shape is very strong, especially with K10 on the board. There's no fear there for black. So giving black this nice shape on the bottom for free is just a little too much in my opinion. And then you approach here, seems reasonable. And black pincers, that's also a fine response. And black properly extends twice without Hane. So since it's here, it's worth pointing out when you get pincered, right? So we've got this. Black cannot Hane here because this stone changes everything. In this situation, white can look at either just playing R2 or Q2. You know, the trap is if he plays R2 and black descends to block, this cut works. And so now black cannot save his A and B group. He has to sacrifice one of them. But black is aware of that, and so extended one more time. And so we do this variation, and that's fine. And then black goes and attacks that group. So this is a pretty common thing for double-digit Q players is I want to attack everything. So the thing is here, these three stones, if they're attackable, they're going to be attackable in a few turns too, because white's not going to put another stone into saving them. And if he does, that's cool. You get two turns in a row, right? So if you think that he owes you a move over here and you play something like this, and then he plays this to save it, like that's great. Like that's so good, right? Because you still have C9 on the board, so he still has to fix something. And so you play here and he fixes this, and it's just like you're getting all these free moves. So playing this, it's just too early. I think it's just a little too early to go after that, because unless you've done a lot of reading, it's hard to tell what this is going to turn into. And white does have two weak groups there, but again, the onus is on him to fix it. So, I think this is just too early because we don't really know where our profit's going to be yet. And so then we get this fight. And but I do like this. So what I will say is this. This move is clearly Sente, right? And it's a nice, strong move. And I like all that. So instead of playing this, we can start with the surrounding move, right? This really threatens white, and white needs to do something about it. But now we get to exchange 1 for 2, and that's really good. So I like that we get 1 out of this exchange, but we didn't need to play any of those other stones to get it, right? We can just play it directly. But this seems to work out fine for black. I think if white pushes through, this is something that black wants. You got to be careful though. So I can see the blood in your eyes here. You want to kill this group. The kind of attacking 101, the basic rule of attacking is the goal of the attack is not to kill the group. If you kill the group, great. Like, obviously, it's fantastic if you kill the group, but that should not be your goal. That should never be your goal. Your goal is to get profit somewhere. So where on this board are we going to get profit from this attack? I think the answer is this monstrous area that we're setting up. And so if that's the case, I would just play moves that help develop this, right? And if this kills white, great. But honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know what white does here. This B3 probably just gets him life. So we probably wouldn't even take that exchange. This probably just gets him alive. This seems to be focused on the wrong side here, right? You may have done this because you thought that this group was weak, right? But again, we've got very good shape here, even without this stone. I don't think we're going to get in trouble here. But if we let white get through here, but this still should be fine. This should still be fine. H6 is fine. Yeah, this is exactly what we want from this attack. And so maybe I'll take it back because black did recognize what his goal was with the attack and executed that, I think, fairly well. So I'm sorry, black. I take that back. White then jumps into 3-3. Yes, that is reasonable. Black wants his sente, and that's fine. Okay, black's gonna. So I don't quite like this either. So typically, if we're playing this, right? So when they 3-3 and we block and they push, we've got two options here, right? We've got A and B. And typically the main difference between the two is when you play A, it's going to keep white lower, but it ends in gote for black. If you play B, white gets a little bit more, right? In this situation is what we got. White gets a little bit more, but black gets sente here. So black should be taking his sente here. And you know, where black would go with that sente, I mean, I wouldn't fault you from extending off the stones or B3 because that probably threatens to kill this group. But doing these exchanges, it just results in us, you know, white completely solidifying life, but you're doing it in gote. So just be mindful of that, right? Because white does now get this splitting move. White gets his base. I do like this kick. I think that's a strong move by black. And white pushes out. Yep, I like all this. Well, this seems reasonable. Here though, this is your quiz. I know you're not here, but the quiz is: do we capture that stone? The answer is no. Don't do it. Don't do it. You did it. So, what happens if white saves this stone? Does anything happen if white saves that stone? Other than us getting 2 moves in a row. I guess we don't get 2 moves in a row, right? If he captures, yeah, we would need something here, right? But is R9 worth giving up 1 stone? It definitely is. You know, in this case, whatever we would play here, or just play here. You know, we have options, but taking this doesn't actually do too much. This group was alive anyway, so we give white a free move, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess interestingly enough, I didn't even look at that side. We've just got this cut, right? We actually don't care, right? This cut's pretty detrimental to white's plan here. So we gave him a free move, unfortunately. And this one really hurts. This move. So if you're not comfortable with how this corner is right now, so 2 things. Thing 1, if you're worried about this, keep in mind that there are a number of answers to this move, and a very common one is just descending to B15. This will not kill C17. That will work. But what this does do is really weakens this group. And that group isn't doing too well right now, as it is. So if white plays in here and you block and he goes and whatever, you know, does what he does to get life. Like, if we just get this, like, I'm pretty sure white's group just dies. And so there's that part of it. If you don't see that, that's fine. Certainly not going to fault you on that. If you want to strengthen that corner, just play this. So this is an important concept of inside moves versus outside moves. Looking at this board right here, as either player, but especially as black, because it's black's turn, when you picture the end of the game, do you picture this as a point for you, right? And you look at it and go, yeah, I really want this to be my territory. Like, this is what I want. So with that in mind, with C17, is that a point at the end of the game? And you look at that and go, yeah, that's a point at the end of the game. Then we shouldn't be playing that move, right? You're just losing a point because this should be your territory. And the simplest way of doing that is just play this. There's no way 3-3 is going to work now. White has to do something about this. He's probably gonna have to jump out to connect up to get this alive. So you probably even get this in Sente. But this is just just way too timid. White definitely got you with the fear. And then sure, I mean it's Sente. And now things are going to start getting real interesting. But White has to be careful. You got to be careful here, White, because your left group isn't. I don't think is strong enough to fight this. And yeah, I don't know where Black necessarily starts. But it's probably just something as simple as this. But let's see. So Black, I do like this. I considered this. My only concern is if this is something we really want to get into. Normally I would really like this. Normally I would really like this move, but I don't know if we've got a great answer to this. We'd probably do this, but then that cut's still there. So just be mindful, right? We know that the small knight's move can be cut, right? So the question is, can we endure that cut? And I don't know if we can here. So I think I probably would have pushed. So White does this, and Black did. Okay, yep. Okay, so that seems fine, and then White peeped. Sure, that seems reasonable. I mean, if it forces the connection, Black's happy to get that. And then White plays this really weird move. I wish White was here. I'm really curious what his intent with this move was. Because I think this is like a game losing mistake type thing. Because if Black gets this, where's White going? Right, Black's already out, so you can't surround him. And I don't see any life for White here. So this move is questionable on lots of regards. It doesn't threaten a cut. It's bad shape. Anytime we're making an empty triangle, we really gotta question: is this the move we want to be doing right now? So this almost looks like a misclick. I'm really questioning that. And then Black does this, which is fine. I think I had pointed out F14, but this is along the same lines. I still think this White group probably should die this game. And so this is the second time White has done this. White, what are you getting out of these peeps? Because forcing Black to fix this right now just removes all Aji, and so we need to be getting something from these exchanges. I'm not sure what we're really getting here, so I'd be cautious about that. And now we have a large knight's move, and Black says no, and I like this. This seems really good. So Black got the fear again. So we need to be the aggressor here. Black needs to be the aggressor. I bet even this probably gets us there. But Black has a bajillion liberties outside, right? There's no way that White is going to be able to take care of these 7 outside liberties. I mean, these are probably outside liberties too. So like 9 outside liberties while you're going after what's in there. Because you also have inside liberties, right? So you've got shared liberties. So this was, this looks like a little bit of you were afraid, and missed the no. Let's go kill this thing, right? I haven't read it all out, but man, I don't see White living. I don't see White living in here. Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah, we're just this is just too timid, right? We gotta go for the kill. This is probably, again, I haven't read everything out, but I have trouble seeing white live after a move like this. Um, so yeah, so this looks like black was afraid he was going to die, and is taking all these uh, forcing moves to get life, but in doing so, let's uh, let's white get life. Um, and then we have this. So my question is, are these stones important? Are they important enough to attack? Or are they important enough to save? And the answer is no, right? The I guess is the second time it came up. So let's go over this because this is one of my favorite lessons to give, and this is how to figure out when to capture and or save stones. Um, so this is a perfect situation. White can save these stones. So does he save these stones? Um, so there are three questions to ask when we look at whether or not to save and or capture stones. First question is, um, do these stones affect the life and death status of any nearby groups? And kind of in this situation, right? I guess, these two stones become alive if those die. But it's worth pointing out this started with just one stone. So we're playing this move. But anyway, so does it affect the life and death status of any stones? Kind of, but not really. Question two: do the stones have good follow-ups? Um, I don't know if we've got a good example of that on the board, but typically we're talking about things like monkey jumps and stuff like that, or first line Hanes where we're going to get like 5 points in endgame in Sente, stuff like that. These three stones don't have any follow-ups; they just exist. And then the third question is: are they simply enough points, worth enough points to save for the stage of the game we're in? So right now, if black captures them, he gets 6 points, but he doesn't in Gote, so white gets 2 moves. Can white find 2 moves that's bigger than 6 points? The answer is yes. So doesn't really affect the life and death status of anything on the board. Doesn't have follow-ups. Isn't worth the points to save. White should sacrifice these stones. Um, and so we can go back and say black shouldn't even attack the stones. Something just going and getting a base down here is bigger. The side's still pretty wide open. Both players want this move. So we attack that, and hey, okay, well, it was like, hey, white didn't save the stones, but he just forces that. And yeah, black needs that to live. So we could ask the same questions. So let's ask the same questions here. Are these stones worth saving? Question one: does it affect the life and death status of any groups on the board? The answer is yes. If white captures this black group dies. I think it dies. Because if black plays here, if black plays A10, white can just play C, or A9 rather, black can play C10 to falsify the I. So anyway, so yeah, black should save, and he does. And then white saves these stones, which he shouldn't, because this gives black a free move. And where does black go with his free move? He goes here. Yeah, it's not the best. We're spending a lot of moves going after stones. If we want to be going after stones, my question is, what's going on up here? Does white feel good about this group? Because that's where what I'd be going after. I'd be poking these potential eyes right out and pressing in on that with the plan of, again, we're attacking this. Our goal is not necessarily to kill, although in this case, boys, it look like it's going to die. But if we can turn this area into blacks while attacking, then cool. So anyway, so black plays here, and now in doing this, right, now these stones are kind of back to being in trouble, which is unfortunate. Black missed a big opportunity to do something like this and go attack those stones, and now it looks like he's gonna lose these 2 stones. And then white finds the timing for this, and this is huge. The difference between white getting this move and black getting this move is monstrous. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this review. as it's 9 o'clock. Let's see what the end of the game looked like. Looks like Black's up. Unless I'm missing something. Let's see. Black by 64. Oh, I didn't even notice. Didn't even notice that he's dead in the middle. So yeah, so good job, Black. We did miss some things, but that's okay. So yeah, so if either player has any questions about this, because I know you guys are going to be watching this, not tonight, obviously, feel free to reach out. And so let's get to the next game. So the next game is, I think I remember this one. So two 12Q players. So back to double digit Q. So I'm just gonna, I don't actually remember this, so let me just fly through this real quick. Okay, I remember this a little more now. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Oh, right. Yeah, so, if this is the game I remember, it felt like Black might be a little sandbaggy here, which is not necessarily their fault. It's tough with these online tournaments. When you're playing on different servers and what, these the player here is just a question mark rank, so he probably doesn't play an OGS. And so, but either way, so we'll go through. We have a nice cross corner game, which is always fun. Black jumps into the 3-3. This is fine. All this is fine. This Hane isn't. So White, I don't like harping on Joseki stuff. But this is a pretty common one, and we should know that that this is the typical response. Regardless, the way that I always suggest dealing with Josekis and studying them, don't put a lot of time and effort into studying Josekis. But if a corner goes poorly for you, then you need to find out why. And in this situation, you're going to find out that this is the move that starts all the trouble. Typically, we play this because we don't want to get cut. Black's going to push one more time. We even still push here, and then Black's going to Tanuki, and most likely take your extension from you, but it doesn't really matter. But this is one of the variations that we're used to seeing. This you're instantly going to get cut, which Black did, and now your S7 stone's dead, and Black is pushing ahead, right? So if White continues, then Black's gonna be pushing ahead in the third line, which is pretty good. And now you're pushing from the wrong direction, right? If you're gonna push, at least push from here, because giving this, you're playing a dead stone and giving Black this move for free. So this exchange is really, really bad. And so I would avoid those, even if there is a way to get this alive. Even if like this gets us alive, this is not anything you should ever be interested in as White. Giving Black this huge wall just for you to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. It's a terrible exchange. So pushing from behind in the second line, never good. And so now we're playing some second line moves that are a little early for this. And we've just got this broken jagged shape. This probably works right now, right? So I guess right out of the bat, we've got some really bad shape that starts with this move, and it's always frustrating. It's frustrating for me as well when I play, where like so much of the game is just, hey, this one move was a mistake, and this one move is going to dictate the next 40 moves, and that's frustrating, and I hate it. But I think this is one of those games where just this move was off, and unfortunately, the avalanche that this creates just is going to dictate the next 30 moves of this game. White needs to get out of here. White needs to just extend and be done with it. And honestly, if black does this, I almost just give up the stones. Just take them and just and go and just cut your losses there. This is putting more stones into a really bad situation. So as black, we don't need to answer this. Okay, you should be going and taking your big point. Because if white does this, whatever, you're still alive. So yeah, so I would not answer this move. Also, white, I wouldn't respond to this move either. R2 isn't important. Again, I would do some, this is a tough position to recover from, but we certainly don't care about that stone, especially if it means we get 2 moves. If we get 2 moves out of sacrificing R2, then that's pretty good. So anyway, so white descends here. I guess it's worth pointing this out. If you are going to put another move into it, just connect. The reason is when you play this, when black eventually gets this move, you still then owe this, right? You're going to need to make that move, as where if you play this and black plays here, you don't need to answer that move. You also don't need to answer the Hane, right? So this is a pretty common mistake. You don't actually want to play this move. You just want to connect. And so black does get the Tanuki, right? And so now white really lost out over here, and black is getting the Tanuki. So white does get his extension, and then black plays here. I'm not a huge fan of this from black. Looking at the spots on the board that are pretty open, kind of seeing the top side and the left side, right? If you just count the number of spaces between the stones, the bottom side and the right side are the 2 most closed. This is certainly not a game-losing move. It's just not as big as some other areas. And then white jumps into 3-3. And here we want to look at where our potential is. Where can we get more points? Can you get more points here or here? And this left side has more potential. So typically I'd suggest just blocking this side and maybe doing the variation that gives you Sente and then playing something like this to really get a lot of potential here. So anyways, we block this way, which is still fine. At the end of this, J3 is going to be positioned very nicely, and then we go over here. So this is a situation. White, I don't even know if I respond to this move. If I do, I play right here. The last game I brought this up when he plays here. Are these 2 stones worth saving? What are they doing here? Do they make anything alive? Do they have good follow-ups? Do they, are they just worth a lot of points? And they just aren't in this situation, right? The problem here is when you play this now, now white is committed to saving everything, and there's no way to save everything here. There's already almost a net here, which white has to worry about, and then if black gets stuff down here, I don't see white getting out of this. The net probably works now. This push probably works. There's just too much. There's too much. This Hane is white is not strong enough to locally. The white stones on this board are not strong enough to support this fight. And so this isn't going to turn out too well for white. So I don't know. I don't know if this was just a big mismatch, right? If black was unintentionally sandbagging this one or what, but black is definitely outplaying white this game. And so for white, I think, there's 2, like I said, unfortunately, it's frustrating how much this one move just dictates what this game's going to turn into. But even beside that, you have to understand when to cut your losses and just go play somewhere else, right? It's clear that this corner is going poorly, so we need to stop putting stones into it. Like I said, once we got here, I probably just abandon it and go, I'm just going to deal with that later, or just extend off of it. But yeah, Unfortunately, this one just dictated a lot of that corner. Just dictated a lot of this game. But let's see. Let's see if I can find some other meaningful stuff to look at. So yeah, so we're still just putting more stones into this area, right? Again, like at this point in time, this just you just gotta scratch this corner off as a loss and just try to do what you can for the rest of the game. But this is just you're just staying committed to this whole area, and so black ignores that and goes takes a big point, and then you jump into 3-3, which is tougher with that 06-17 stone, right? Because now black can just block here. He has this, he's got these 3 stones, so he's got good development potential here. And with 017, this stone's not gonna have the easiest life. And I think this dies. I think you need to play here. Is it just the covariation? I wonder if it's the covariation. It probably isn't. White probably has more than this. Corners are tough, but I do know that this is. I don't think this is going to end well for white. This might work, but I think just the extension. The extension doesn't work because 017 is there. So yeah, this is what really this move right here told me that black might be a little stronger than they're letting on. This is not a, again, he's a question mark, so I'm assuming he's either somewhere between white's a 12k, so either 11 or 13, somewhere between 11 and 13k. I don't think this is a move that they would necessarily find. This is a very, it's sneaky, right? That's a sneaky move. This is just, yeah. I don't know, white. This is just a tough one. Black, you're playing great. I mean, that's all there is to it. Black's playing very solidly this game. But yeah, this move just tells me that black knows what's up, knows a little more what's going on here. But yeah, now this game's just absolutely over, right? Black just has 2 huge corners. White just has nothing on this board. So yeah, I don't think there's too much more to be said about this one, unfortunately. So yeah, so sorry I couldn't give a great review on this one. This game just got out of hand really quickly. So the two main things for white, and so this is just a generic thing. Anytime a corner goes poorly. So actually, this happens twice. So, because you had 2 corners that went poorly, right? This corner obviously went poorly, as did this one. So in both corners, something went wrong. So in those situations, I would go to either the Joseki tool on OGS or Josekipedia and figure out what variations exist and what did you play that went wrong. And you're going to find in this case that Q17 is not what we play when 017 is there. And you're going to find that this Hane is not played. Unfortunately, I don't think those tools are necessarily going to show you the rebuttals when you play the wrong move, but you're going to see that white's move is this. And in game, you are looking at this because you're like, hey, this corner went really poorly for me. So even if it doesn't show what the refutations are from this, you saw in the game what happened, right? And then so same thing when we played here. The Josekipedia or the OGS tool might not tell you why this is bad, but your game showed you why it was bad. So that's takeaway 1, is whenever a corner goes poorly and you don't know what happens there, the Joseki tools are out there to show you what variations exist. And then the other big thing is understanding when to cut your losses. And so one of the phrases that you'll hear is don't put good stones in bad. And what that means is if there's if there's a group that's things just clearly aren't going well there, and or stones are dying, stop putting stones there. Stop playing good stones in a bad area. Go find the profitable places on the board to play, because at worst you're going to get 2 free moves. So in this situation, like, instead of playing this, you know, yeah, maybe if you play this, this cut just destroys everything. But at least you then get two moves in a row, right? It's better than trying to get just these stones alive and getting 0 points out of it. Because getting these groups alive isn't actually going to do anything for you. It's not going to actually get you any points. Um, so so yeah, that's probably the two main takeaways on this one. So so yeah, so I think we're gonna leave this game here. And yeah, if there's more, you know, if you've got more questions, feel free to reach out. But I think I'm going to drop this in again. Again, I'm sorry, the chat. I don't have it set up well on the computer because OGS decided to bug out on me. So I'm dual wielding here. So for both players, you can check out that my YouTube channel. I've got a lot of, well, not a lot yet, but I've got videos up that go over some basic rules to follow that will help out. You know, it's aimed towards double-digit Q players. So hopefully that stuff can help you out. You're also going to see, it's not up there yet, but the next video I'm putting up, and then I'll post it on Reddit and Discord and whatnot. I'm going to start going to be looking for, you know, students to either, you know, lessons and or reviews, and I'm going to make it have the first review free. So take a look at those videos. Hopefully you can learn something there. Reach out to me if you have any questions or if you're interested in lessons. So with that, we're going to go to the final game, and this one actually I hadn't looked at too much. So this is white is 9K, so black is 13K. This is the second game of black's that I've reviewed. I reviewed his first round game as well. So let's see how, I'm going to just fly through this real quick. Okay, I do remember this one a little now. Yep, lots of weirdness in this one, and that's okay. So okay, so let's start. And I know I've been doing a lot of plugging, and I apologize for that. But so for black, do check out that link. I've got some videos up that will explain why some of the moves I'm getting into aren't the greatest. But anyway, so white approaches, black kicks, and right off the bat, we're playing this weird move. And so, you know, you're strong enough now that you should know the, you know, the pretty common variations off of 4/4 stones, right? This is probably like the first approach that we learn, right? And so there aren't, you know, there are a lot of variations, but there are some really common ones, right? This being one of them, and typically we're playing here or here. You know, those are kind of the two options. You know, you can pincer here, but typically you're just considering one of these two moves. You're not gonna drive back into the corner like that. It's just in the wrong direction, right? We want our stones moving in the direction that we think the action is gonna be, and the corner is not it. So white goes and takes his extension, and then black immediately plays here. That's fine. White ignores, approaches, so he kicks again, and then tanukis. So same thing. There's no reason, you know, especially when you're starting with a 4-stone handicap, you don't need to play crazy. You don't need to like really keep all the momentum and get all the tanukis. You can just play common normal, right? Let white get his variations, and now you can take this move, or you know, this move, whichever you played. And so here, you know, this corner isn't finished. And again, I hate giving this advice. But, you know, in a 4 handicap game, you have to assume that your opponent's going to be a stronger fighter than you. So leaving openings like this, leaving this available, like, you know, from my perspective, if I was playing against a 3-don, this move would scare the hell out of me, right? Like, I'd just say, like, oh man, I have no idea how to deal with this. And so I would be finishing the variation so that I at least know that, you know, I know how to handle 3/3 at this point. But anyway. So white goes in, we block here, and then white does this, which is fine. and black does this kind of weird move, but honestly, it seems reasonable. It seems reasonable enough if you want to transition to the side. But if you want to transition to the side, I would just take the extension now and just forsake the corner. But once you played K17, that was you saying that you don't care about the corner. And so here, good. I like this move a lot. I'm very glad you didn't save this stone. This is a good move. I would probably play something a little closer to these 3 stones because they are going to be under pressure, right? So maybe just take your nice calm extension here, and that's fine. But I'm really happy to see the Tanuki, and it's definitely in the right area of the board. I just think it's a little too far away from that group. And then white plays here. We've got options. I'd probably just jump out, which you do. I probably just would have jumped here, but it's hard to debate one move over the other. Yep. For white, I think this is better shape. If black's going to play this move, we actually don't care about it. We can fly out. So this just seems like better shape. It's not an issue now, but black has this later, and maybe, and then if you connect, like maybe this is an issue later. So I don't like that shape. And then black goes to surround the group. I like that. Normally I wouldn't like these central moves this early in the game, but I do like these here. And white Tanukis. That's a bold Tanuki. This is that situation now. I wonder if this kills. Right. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Maybe, something like this. That doesn't look too good for white. This is a bold Tanuki. It does threaten these stones, but I think these stones are probably safer than what's up top. And black pincers. I like it. So he's going to push him into those stones. Okay, so black. So here, when white played this move, I'm curious what your thoughts on this are. What the intent of this move is. I see this as a direct threat to these 3 stones. I'm not considering this 4th stone because it doesn't exist. I don't even see it on the board. So these 3 stones right here should be what we're looking at. I think those are too big to sacrifice right now. And so I think this is fine. I think this is a fine move. But when white jumps out, man, you need to stay ahead. You need to make sure that these stones aren't going to die or give white a ton of profit when he gets to attack them. So playing here, if white just plays this, do these stones live now? I'm not sure they do. So I'd be real cautious about that. And white does immediately attack. Okay, so your plan was to sacrifice them. So at least you are being consistent with what you are looking at. So maybe your plan all along was when he played this, you're going, I am going to sacrifice those moves. And while I don't agree with that, I'm happy to see that you were consistent with it. Clearly you're like, yes, I'm giving up those stones. I think they're a little too big to give up. But we are getting, for white's 3 moves, we did get this, and this, and those are really big stones. So if that was your plan, I can't fault you for that, because you stuck to it. Okay, so then white goes here, and we kick it, and that should be fine, because this is kind of like what this is like is going way back in the time machine here, guys. This is like if we had done this variation and we pincered immediately. And this isn't a bad move, right? It's a little early for it, but it's not bad. And so I like basically what you're doing is exactly that, just in a different order, right? You played this, and then we did this, and I happen to love this variation. I love what it does. If you guys aren't familiar with it, again, this is done in a reverse order, but we can pretend that black. Well, actually, here, just kidding. Here we can just jump out. Here we can just jump out, and it's really bad for white. And that's probably what we should do. Just keep him split. Your corner's nice and strong now. And so this is going to attack both the square group and the triangle group. And what's great is your top corner's as solid as it gets, your bottom corner is as solid as it gets. So all you actually care about is this one group, and white has to care about both. So this, I think this is a little soft in this situation. And here, yeah, just crush his dreams. Just come out and threaten this cut, because this cut's pretty big. But I think you should jump before making these exchanges, because white is stronger now. But we Tanuki. Playing the fourth line is a little tough with these stones already undercutting it. I think third line would have been better, but that's a minor thing. So white's going to go get alive, and then so with that high stone, we've got this natural point. I don't know how I feel about this one. Right, this says that you care, that you're going about you're going after the center. Maybe this is fine. No. So if this is the case, you just want to play on top, get your influence, right? Or I guess we have to play here and let him connect, and then we can, go do something like this. So let's see. Oh, white gave you the cut. So white, I would just connect here. Black isn't going to be able to net or do anything here, so I think this connection is pretty important. Giving up that stone's pretty big. This gives black a lot of points down here. So yeah, so if you cared about that stone, you needed to connect it, right? This is what we need. Once you play this, you were saying you don't care about that stone. You have to give it up. Because now black gets this, and giving up these two stones is too big too. So now black gets those two moves in Sente, and then this, and I question what white gets out of this. Black gets good influence, and gets those stones. So I don't like that. Black, you're blocking the wrong way. These two stones need to look at it. You should be looking at these as a target to attack. There's nothing, white getting in here isn't going to get those two stones alive. Something as simple as this just kills the stones, and it kills it from the side you want to kill it from. So lots of missed opportunities here for both players. This is real unfortunate for black. So let's see. And then black comes out here, and that's big. But again, this Hane is huge, right? So now we're kind of giving up those stones, and that's too big to give up. That's just too big to give up. So I don't know. Maybe white would have to extend one more time before Haneing, because the cut's a little too big. But I don't like this after playing these stones. I feel like you're a little committed to them now. And then white just throws a dart on the board. It's interesting. I wonder what the plan is here. Maybe he's trying to go after these stones on a large scale. That's my guess. And it looks like black throws a dart on the board. These are kind of, these are random looking moves, honestly. And I think these are only happening because black Tanuki'd away from these four stones. So I don't think this stone is big enough to offset what's going on here. If this is black's response to those stones, then you should have done something like this. Just get ahead of white, or go get your Sente moves here, and then do something like this. But yeah, now the game looks like it's gonna get real weird. Okay, so I'm sensing a theme here, black. You're playing a lot of stones and then sacrificing them. You played this, white pressed on it, and you're like, nope, just kidding. We're playing here now. So what was the point of this move? If we're giving this stone up, this is way too big of a stone to give white. This stone does too much to just let white play it. So I would reconsider how you're playing your stones that you're willing to sacrifice. If you are getting good moves in Sente by sacrificing the stones, then I'm all for it. But that isn't what's happening here. You're just playing these stones. You're giving white good strong stones on the board, and then you're snooking away. So you're giving white too much, and so white does take this finally, and then we play here. So yeah, this is black. I think kind of not flailing. I don't think we're in flailing mode now, but we're getting there. But this at least does reduce this big area that white's making, but it's only a big area because we gave up the stones there. And for white, we need to look at where our points are. Where are our points on this board? They're here, right? So just block. Just block them from getting in. Just take this entire quadrant. It's very rare where we lose games of Go where we get an entire quadrant of the board. And right now, black is clearly giving this up. There's a ton of Aji in here. I wonder, AI could probably get some stuff to live in there, but I don't think human beings can. But this gives black a little too much leeway with something like this to just get in. And we know black's all for sacrificing stones. So if you go and split, he'll gladly give that stone up. Go have it. But now we get this. So, and black starts here. Yeah, I mean, I like where this is going. I would start a little further outside, but there just might be enough room to live in here. Here, I would definitely run out. I would definitely do something like this. But yeah, let's see where black play. Seems reasonable. Right? It's gonna get us some eye space. I like this. So black's playing these moves pretty well. Not a big fan of this one, right? Empty triangles. Again, you got to be real mindful of these. Yeah, I think we just get out. I think if anything lives here, we're okay. So the issue. So I don't like this black, and here's the reason. This is why Sumego is really important. And for a real long time, I wasn't against Sumego doing them, but I wasn't a big fan, and I still don't do them a lot. But this is the perfect example of why they're important. So black just played this move, and if we look at the eye space that black has here, we might recognize this shape, right? This is the bulky 5, and white already has a stone on the vital point, right? So, yes, I am the Strugglebus guy, and I'm glad you enjoy the videos. And yeah, if there's more stuff you want to see or different stuff, just let me know. My next video will be up probably tomorrow or the next day. I think the video's done. I'm just having a buddy review it to make sure I didn't mess anything up, but I think it came out good. But anyway, I'm glad that you are enjoying the videos. I'm having way too much fun making them. I actually haven't been doing any playing recently because I've been doing them. But anyway, getting back to this, here's the bulky 5, and white's already on the vital point. So black's already dead. Before you even played this move, black was dead. And this is where Sumego helps. So yeah, so black, I don't like this one, and Sumego will help. And I don't often give that advice. White, you should do Sumego too, because as I mentioned before, black's already dead. So white can maybe just Tanuki here, but white should just be aiming to surround this group. Just surround the group. because he already doesn't have enough eye space, or you can play here or whatever. I would not be playing inside stones. I would be making sure that black can't extend to get more eye space, because it doesn't matter where black plays. We know this bulky 5. We're used to seeing it on the corner, on the edge, right? But that's what this is. This is the bulky 5, so we don't need this. It still likely kills, but and we recognize that now. Yep. Okay. And then black plays there. So that's why I was kind of saying I think this is probably the safer option. But blocking that way is good too. I kind of just want to do this white, though. I wonder if that gets us another eye. Does that get us another eye? That probably gets us another eye. Goes hard, guys. But this, I don't think this will do it. I think if white plays here, I don't think white's going to get another eye. But that takes some reading, right? Because that falsifies the eye. But that's a lot to see. That's a lot to see. So I wonder if black ends up living here. So white pokes out that eye. Does that do it? That probably does it too. Yeah. Yep. Black looks all sorts of dead here. Oh, but he's got an out. Black, you've got an out. It's a ko, but you've got an out, and I would take it. Yeah. So yeah, so just some misfirings here. Yeah. So unfortunately that gives up black stones. But yeah, so you've got this Atari here, right? And if white lets go out, you're connected, and otherwise, this is a pretty. It's a ko, right? Because white can't just connect here because we've got this double Atari. Again, not necessarily the easiest to see, but this move should be somewhat easy to see, right? Or even this move, right? Because now white simply can't block, right? Because we've got this. So that was a pretty big miss. But yeah, so yep. So that's probably the end of this one. Black does have a lot up here, but this is just too big. This is just huge. So let's see. So what's the lesson? What's this lesson for black here? So yeah. The lesson for black here is if you're going to sacrifice stones, you need to not sacrifice too many of them. Sacrificing 1 or 2 stones is fine. So the concept that I didn't get into is light stones versus heavy stones. So light stones are black. You're going to love light stones because they're the ones that you can sacrifice. But you sacrifice them strategically so that you get other moves while you're doing it. But the important aspect of light stones is that it's just a couple of them, just 1 or 2, maybe 3 stones. Once you start getting more stones in a group, then a group becomes heavy, and what that means is now the group is so big that if it dies, it's just too detrimental. So it's a heavy group that you now need to save. You were making heavy groups and then sacrificing them, as opposed to just keeping your stones light. Obviously, this Joseki, you should be familiar with it, and then. Same thing here. I wouldn't Tanuki from this. I would finish this. I would finish this exchange. Let's see. So I'm gonna get distracted real quick from the comment. So you're still a new player. Don't worry about the confidence part yet, right? You're new. You're potentially playing against people who've played a lot more than you and know more, right? But you're gonna get there. We all like we all sucked. Like we were all terrible. Like when we first started playing, it goes hard and it's not intuitive. So especially if you haven't, you know, if you're just playing, right? If you're just playing and not necessarily getting games reviewed or watching videos or whatnot, it's hard to pick up stuff by yourself. And so don't beat yourself up about it. But yeah, that's my spiel on that. Everybody picks up the game at their own pace. Everybody has their own plateaus. It's fine. You know, play to enjoy the game. If you want to learn, study, reach out to people. There's tons of us out there willing to help. And so that's one of the reasons why I made the YouTube channel is to help bridge that gap from like new player to like 15K. There seems to be a lot of content to get you past like 10K. And hopefully my content also can get there, but for now it's going to be aimed towards newer players. But getting back to this, so black, keep your stones light if you're gonna sacrifice them. Maybe understand this kicking Joseki a little more. Let's see, because I was pretty hyped that you were willing to sacrifice E3 because that's great because a lot of players, a lot of double digit Q players are going to save that stone, and that's a really bad move, and this is a good move. I wasn't a fan once you decided to sacrifice. So those stones are too big to sacrifice, right? Obviously, we don't have the foresight, but if you were willing to sacrifice, so I guess this is the example of keeping stones light. If you're willing to sacrifice this stone, because you sacrificed it along with 3 others, sacrifice it now. Just ignore this move. This move is totally ignorable. Just go, yep, you can have that, it's fine, and then play here. And then if they double approach, you can still go, yeah, that's yours, you can have it. It's like, and then all of a sudden it's like it takes 3 stones for them to just get your 1 stone. Yeah, that's a big corner. It's a big corner. But that's not bigger than when you gave up these 4 stones. The struggle bus, it's a bumpy ride this evening, but things are going well. This is my final review for the beginning of Go Magic tournament. I had a lot of fun with it, and I got to help a lot of people out, and then I get to plug my stuff, which is always fun. So I'm going to do that again. So there's my little YouTube channel that I put together. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I mentioned that the OBS hasn't been connecting to Twitch recently, which is frustrating. And so I checked it earlier today, and it connected. I was like, okay, I'm all set for tonight. And then I came on after putting my kids to bed, and it didn't connect, and so I had to jump back over to Streamlabs, and yeah, it was a little frustrating. So I need to figure out what's going on with that. That started this week, but other than that, things are going well. So black. If you want to sacrifice stones, don't put a lot of stones in there first. Keep them small. Technician, for if you want to reach out, you can email me at strugglebusgo@gmail.com. And then we can talk about what what potential lessons would look like. I don't want to get into that too much here right now. But send that email. You can go to the YouTube site. It's listed there as well. And we can figure stuffs out. So let me see what else there was for black. Honestly, it's weird. Black, like, you have a lot of really strong moves this game. Like, I love this move. This is a great move. There's a lot of potential and promise in the moves that you're making. It's just, we're sacrificing a little too big of stones, and and then playing stones and then immediately sacrificing them, right? So we missed the fight stuff here, and that's fine. But yeah, like, these 4 stones, we can't let them die now. They're too big. They are too big, and so we need to be doing something again. If we were going to sacrifice those 4 stones, then once he played this, just play away. Just go, okay, I'm going to play here. You go kill K4. It's going to take you 4 stones to do it, and I'm going to get more on the rest of this board. But once you start putting these stones into it, you can't sacrifice this group anymore. And so playing away is just it's too inconsistent with what your moves are, or what your plan is rather. But you have a lot of really strong moves this game, so I'm of two sides on this one. I'm assuming you lost after losing all this. Yeah, because everything's dead in the center there. So let's see. Let's see what the score estimate is. But it's only white by 15. You kept it close. You kept it close for how many stones you gave up here. Because like I said, you played a lot of good. You played a lot of good big moves. So yeah. So I think that's all I got for tonight. And so yeah, so this concludes my reviews for the beginning of Magic tournament. I believe the tournament concluded about a week ago. I was busy last weekend, so I wasn't able. I'm playing catch up here, and so I really enjoyed doing these reviews. I'm also happy they're over because I only have so much time for Go, and I enjoy, believe it or not, I actually enjoy playing. And between this and putting all the YouTube stuff together, I haven't been doing any playing or any streaming. So hoping to get back to that. But anyway, definitely check out the YouTube channel. I have a lot of fun making those videos and making fun of myself. And the goal is to get a new video up at least every 2 weeks. Hopefully, ideally I can do it once a week, but I'm sure life will get in the way. But I think I think a video every other week is reasonable enough if I can keep that consistent, and then hopefully I can help newer players out with the basics of Go, and then as I get stronger, they can head on to the channels that do a better job of getting you to 9K and beyond. But yeah, so that's where I'll leave it tonight. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Anyway, thanks for coming for a ride on the Struggle Bus, and I will see you guys next time.